situation. Vinnie Toyota, driven to excellence. At the Valley Auto Mall in Henderson or online at VinnieToyota.com.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey, Chuck, how much can I get at Dollar Loan Center? You can get a signature loan up to $5,000. And here's the cool part. You can come in anytime.
There we go. Good to see you. Let it rip. Everybody hear me? We got a big guest, Don Van Natta of ESPN on John Gruden. Just sending out a text. Okay, let's get this done real quick. Always running to get the show started. How we doing in the comments here?
Sam, I got a surprise for you. You call it a live. You call it a live radio station. I'm going on the air in a minute and a half. Take care, pal.
What do they want, Bobby? What they want?
Wanted to sell me something. Every time the hotline rings, but this time it came up on this broadcast. That's the only reason I answered it.
All right, here we go. We got a big guest. Don Van Natta is going to join us on the John Gruden case. He is the authority on this story. He is the authority on this story for ESPN. So he's going to join us right out of the gate. So we'll see what happens there. I've had a busy morning, man. Busy morning. I went on Larry Krueger and Damon Bruce's podcast on the Niners Raiders. I went on KMBR in the Bay Area to talk about the Niners Raiders, and we got this show, man. Blind Mike and Philly checking in. Good to see you. Let's get some water here so my voice doesn't crack. Yes, I'm excited. We got a hell of a show today. Vinnie Bonsignore, Raider Dad, will join us. Who else do we got, Bobby? I forgot. 1 o'clock. Jesse Merrick will join us at 1:30. And Todd Marinovich, former Raider quarterback. Wow. Okay, let's do this.
The Brick Show, where the Raider Nation has come to sound off and react for over 20 years.
It's the JT the Brick Show.
If you're in the relentless pursuit of finding the competitive edge in everything you're doing, you got to be on.
100%. I expect to win every time I come out the field. I don't care what we're doing. You know what I mean? It's every drill, everything we do. I'm expecting to win. Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
This is going to be a battle. This is going to be physical. This is going to be old school football.
Yes, sir. As a great man once said, just win, baby.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT, as we open up the show, and we got a monster show for you today. This is why you listen to this show and you watch it live on YouTube at JT the Brick YT, streaming on Raiders.com and on the Raiders mobile app. Right out of the gate, Don Van Natta is going to join us. He is the authority on John Gruden versus the NFL. I've been tracking him down for a couple of days. He's going to join us first at the top of the hour. Big interview. He's the guy. I'm biased on this story. I'm involved in this story because I know all the players. I told you I know more than pretty much everyone on this topic other than the guy I'm about to interview. So if you believe in this story, if you're interested, it's coming right now. Vinnie Bonsignore will join us at 12:45. Former Raider quarterback Todd Marinovich at 1 o'clock. His new book's out. We're going to talk about addiction. We're going to talk about quarterback, his dad, his youth, his art. Todd Marinovich at the top of the hour. Jesse Merrick will join us. He's got a new podcast covering the Raiders. We're going to talk to Jesse. He's doing some really good work. I want to have him on. And then Raider Dad. is going to join us as he's bringing kids to the Raider game. You find a better show than that. Might not be the best in your mind, but I'll put it up against anything. I had a really busy morning as I was on a couple of shows. I was on KMBR in San Francisco with Larry Kruger, and I was on Larry Kruger and Damon Bruce's podcast with my buddy Sam Batesh on the Raiders versus the Niners coming up. I got more information on the Niners than I could have got all week on the Niners. So I'm totally prepped up with the Niners coming to town and how important this is going to be. So we got a lot happening today. Today's a big show. If you want to get through, fight for the radio show. Fight for the show at 702-365-9200. Get in. Tell us what you think about the Raiders. Today was not a padded practice. It was indoors. I wasn't able to be there today because I had some Lotus broadcasting business to do here today. Tomorrow I'll be there with my family. How about that? Wife and kids are coming to practice because it's the biggest practice of the year. If you're going to practice, this is the biggest practice of the year. No debate. It will be the padded practice, the joint workout with the 49ers. The 49ers are coming in really banged up, tremendously banged up. As of now, they haven't canceled, but last year they canceled on New Orleans last second. I'm hoping they don't cancel. I'm not getting any indication that they are, but the Niners are coming in banged up. And they played pretty hard in their last game against Denver. I tweeted out a Brian Baldinger video of the defensive line of the Niners in preseason game 1. It was stunting. They were running all these elaborate schemes week 1. Are they going to do that against the Raiders as they want to build the pass rush? And obviously the big storyline is going to be, what are the Raiders going to do with this offensive line? Are we going to see a breakout game for this offensive line? Why am I raising my voice? I don't know. I raise my voice on the radio. I don't at home. I kind of keep it down. But on the radio, I like to be louder and a little bit more intense. What is your big thing that you want to see for the Niner game, other than the win? And you want to win the game. They're playing a football game. It's not a scrimmage. It's a game. It's a preseason game. You can bet on it. You want the Raiders to win that game. Every game matters. We want to win that game. So let's go. So let's get in on this and let's figure this out. If you want to get through, 702-365-9200. I've told you over the years about my deep involvement with Bruce Allen, who hired me, John Gruden, who I got hired with when he started, and I've been following the deal ever since John Gruden had to resign from the Raiders. Don Van Natta from ESPN is the authority on this. He's been leading this storyline for ESPN, and he's kind enough to join us. Don, thanks for making time. I'll just jump right in. After Gruden just won the recent victory 5-2, with the NFL coming back on appeal, where do we stand today?
Well, JT, great to be with you. It's a fascinating moment right now in this case that, as you know, was filed by John Gruden in late 2021 after being forced to resign because of these leaked emails. Right now, the NFL is deciding what to do. They do not want John Gruden to have his day in court, in a Nevada courtroom with discovery. The NFL wanted to put this behind closed doors in an arbitration proceeding that now the Nevada Supreme Court has said no to. And so Gruden will have his day in court. And so the NFL is deciding. They've asked for a rehearing with the Nevada Supreme Court. I think that's highly unlikely that will happen. And then the last step that the NFL has is to go to the U.S. Supreme Court and ask them to consider the case. And if that fails, and I expect most likely that will fail, then it's go time. It'll be a proceeding in a Nevada district court where John Gruden will have the opportunity to get discovery and find out precisely who leaked those emails that cost him his job as head coach of the Raiders in October 2021.
Okay, for this conversation, let's say it goes to the Supreme Court. Roger Goodell doesn't want to have this really big story in front of the Supreme Court. Does he? Does he want to win this case so badly and not settle that he would go in front of the United States Supreme Court and make this argument for the whole world to look into and see?
That is the expectation that I have based on my reporting, JT, that the commissioner will go that far to block this from ever getting into a courtroom. Now, you're right. The other option is a settlement and to try to make this case go away quietly. But John Gruden has said in a story that we did 2 years ago that laid out the entire backstory of this whole episode, he said that he has zero interest in settling, that he wants the truth. He wants revenge. He wants to find out exactly who leaked these emails. You know, Brent Musburger put it really well, as you may know, JT, just a few days after this happened.
On my show. Let me stop you, Don. That was on my show. He said that to me. Go ahead. Yeah, that was me.
I didn't realiise that, JT. Yeah. I mean, what he said, as you'll recall, is he said this was a professional hit job. You know, these were assassins that went after Gruden, and Gruden suspects that it was Roger Goodell and people in the league office that out of 650,000 emails that were produced, most of which were sent by Bruce Allen when he was general manager of the Washington Commanders, the Washington football team. Of all of those emails, only 11 were selectively leaked to the Wall Street Journal and to the New York Times with those offensive words that were used by Coach Gruden about DeMaurice Smith, the head of the National Football League Players Association at that time, as well as Roger Goodell. As you probably know, JT, Gruden said very negative things about Goodell. So from Gruden's perspective and from his lawyer's perspective, Goodell had a motive to get these emails out. And as we reported, Goodell literally said to Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, more emails are coming out. You got to do something about Gruden, and pressured Mark Davis to seek that resignation and to end John Gruden's career as a coach in the National Football League.
Don Van Natta is our guest. Because of the tight relationship with Bruce Allen and John Gruden, how dare anybody go into Bruce Allen's emails and let alone take them, but cherry pick the Gruden emails? That's probably with that many emails that it comes to coaches and players and everything. When John Gruden's realizing that he has to step down and resign from the Raiders, and only a handful of emails were cherry-picked, coming from the Washington Redskins at the time, Commanders server, not the Raiders server, tie that into me in regards to finding out why that happened and who was actually behind that.
Well, that's right. So for your listeners, I mean, they may not realize this. These emails were sent while John Gruden was not in the National Football League. He was at ESPN. He was the color commentator for Monday Night Football. This was in 2011. So Gruden was not working for a team. He was not in the NFL. And these were private emails that he sent to Bruce Allen that got scooped up in this NFL-led investigation of Dan Snyder by an attorney by the name of Beth Wilkinson. And as I said earlier, there were 650,000 emails. These are emails that Bruce Allen sent to people all around the National Football League, including presumably to Roger Goodell himself, to Jeff Pash, the general counsel of the NFL, and many other people. And out of all of those emails, the only ones that were selectively leaked were these 11 that John Gruden sent in 2011. And what Roger Goodell has tried to do, and the lawyers for the NFL have tried to do, is say this needs to go to arbitration. Behind closed doors, Goodell leads that arbitration. He picks the arbitrator, and that's how we'll resolve this. And the Nevada Supreme Court said absolutely not. By a 5-2 vote, they said, how can this be an arbitration proceeding when Gruden wasn't even in the NFL at the time these emails were sent? He was working for ESPN. So that's how Gruden won this week, and in a pretty resounding victory, 5-2. And now he will have his day in court. Unless there's a settlement or unless the U.S. Supreme Court picks up the case and sides with the NFL, Gruden will have his day in court, and there will be discovery. And JT, you hinted at it earlier, Roger Goodell and the NFL does not want any discovery in this case. They want to stop it at all costs.
Don Van Natta is our guest from ESPN. So let's assume the case goes forward and there is discovery. Who could be under oath here? When we think of other owners, when we think of other coaches, when we think of everybody who could be involved in this situation, how ugly can that get? Who potentially could be under discovery if John Gruden continues to not settle and they're not able to win this in the NFL on appeal and this goes forward to court in Nevada?
Well, Gruden in his lawsuit alleges that Roger Goodell was responsible for the leaks. That's the allegation that Gruden alleges in this lawsuit against Goodell personally in the National Football League. But we've reported that there were other people that had access to these emails. Dan Snyder, the former owner of the Washington Commanders, He had access, and his lawyers had access. There were people in the league office. A woman by the name of Desiree Perez, who works for Rock Nation. We had some reporting that pointed out that she was in the loop on the emails. DeMaurice Smith, who was a target of one of Gruden's racist emails, he had access to them. They were presented to him. Perhaps he had a motive to leak, and we raised that. So this is a fact-finding mission that Gruden's lawyers will go on to try to find out who, in fact, leaked them. It might not have only been one person or one group. It might have been multiple groups. And that's what the discovery process will allow to happen. And to answer your question, JT, about who will go under oath, you could have Goodell under oath, Dan Snyder, other people in the league office, coaches, owners. It just depends on where the facts lead once that discovery begins for Gruden's lawyers.
How about even a bigger one? How about the other people on the email, if there were other people on the email?
That could happen too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's so many emails, and, it sort of boggles the mind to think that the only emails there where there was inappropriate language or something that was said that could be embarrassing were the 11 that John Gruden sent to Bruce Allen. When you look at a universe of 650,000 plus emails, and Gruden was outraged that those 11 emails of his were cherry-picked and leaked to the media, which cost him his coaching career in Las Vegas for the Raiders in 2021, which, by the way, at the time, the team was 3-1, had a really good team. And, I had a statement from Gruden yesterday on the record where he was really, really upset that this dropped in the middle of a season that he felt that they had a really good chance to make some noise in the playoffs. The team still made the playoffs that year without Gruden. And so he's angry about that. He's very, very angry, wants to get the truth. But, everybody has a number. And so if the settlement is high enough, that remains to be seen whether the NFL will, back up the Brinks truck and offer so much money that Gruden will have no choice but to settle.
Don Van Natta, as we wrap it up, to go back in time. So I'm hosting John Gruden's TV show every week, and he's sitting on the chair next to me as we're getting off to a 3-1 record. And the next week, I'm sitting down with Rich Bisaccia, and he ends up taking over the team and takes the team to the playoffs. It ended in our building, in the Raiders building, like a snap. Everybody was on board. Mark Davis, the entire team, the entire roster. Allegiant Stadium, as you know, which has some opposing fans that want to get into the building. It was packed with Raider fans because everybody was behind Gruden. And then Gruden was taken away from Mark Davis and the Raiders. Your opinion on how Mark Davis handled this as an owner and what happened with Roger Goodell, because Gruden at that point is gone. The integrity of the league is at stake now because the Raiders aren't coaching with Gruden. Bisaccia ended up leading them to the playoffs there, and how it could have affected the entire league in that one particular season.
Well, that's right. What Gruden said yesterday, JT, to me in a statement that I published late yesterday afternoon on ESPN.com, he said the league's actions here disrupted the whole season for the Raiders. Quote, "We were leading the division at the time, and they completely blindsided me and the team. What happened wasn't right, and I'm glad the court didn't let the NFL cover it up." And so you asked about Mark Davis's role. 2 years ago, we went in depth on what happened here. And Mark Davis, on the Saturday after the Wall Street Journal published the first leaks, they published them on a Friday in early October 2021. On that Saturday, there was a conference call where Mark Davis took a call from Roger Goodell and Jeff Pash. Goodell, the commissioner, and Jeff Pash, the general counsel of the NFL. And they both told Mark Davis, there's more emails coming. Davis did not want to fire Gruden. He wanted to try to ride this out. And they basically said, you've got to do something. There's more emails coming. And it turns out 2 days later on that Monday, during Monday Night Football, the New York Times published more leaked emails from Gruden. And that evening, Davis accepted Gruden's resignation. And Mark Davis felt that he was pressured and strong-armed by the commissioner and was very, very upset at both the commissioner and at Dan Snyder. Because remember, Snyder also had access to these emails. And in a story we published, Snyder had a motive, too, to leak them because he was trying to get back in the good graces of Roger Goodell. So all of these suspects have motives. And the danger to the National Football League with this case now going into open court and discovery is what exactly will be found out. And you have a plaintiff who is highly motivated in John Gruden who wants the truth. And so that is a danger to the commissioner and to the National Football League.
Don, appreciate your time. Last one. Why is it so important to the fans globally of the NFL that this gets rectified in court and there's no settlement if there is no settlement?
Well, I think that the fans want to know that the game is on the level and that there is not a hidden hand, whether it's in the league office or whether it's an owner like a Dan Snyder who can disrupt the season. I mean, we all want the integrity of the game. Everybody wants that, including the commissioner, to be fair to Roger Goodell. And, there's constantly suspicions that officials are not doing things the right way. And there's other questions about the integrity of the game. This is a case where a head coach is 3-1 and is, trying to do the best he can for his club. And suddenly there is a leak, a series of media leaks that cost him his job. And what actually motivated that to really get to the bottom of it and the truth of it, I think it's important to all fans to figure that out. Who is responsible for it and why?
Thank you, Don. I hope we can stay in touch throughout this process. Really appreciate you making time for me.
My pleasure, JT. Always fun to be with you. Appreciate it.
You got it. Don Van Natta from ESPN, senior writer. That's a big interview. You haven't heard that anywhere on radio. Okay, we got it. We wanted to have that here for a number of reasons. We have moved on in Raider Nation under Pete Carroll. Okay, this is the biggest story in the NFL this week. It's not the preseason. It's about John Gruden winning in the Nevada Supreme Court 5-2, and now the NFL wanting to have a rehearing. Why? Why a rehearing? You think that they're going to be able to flip those judges from 5-2 to 4-3? That's the only reason you do it, right? If you believe in movies, the Pelican Brief, and you watch a lot of movies, and you believe in that, why have a rehearing? And did you hear what Don Van Natta said? The only last recourse for Roger Goodell would be to go to the United States Supreme Court. Do you think Roger Goodell wants someone arguing on his behalf in front of the United States Supreme Court in regards to John Gruden? So I'm a big John Gruden guy, as you know. I just want he and his family to be happy. And I think he'll coach again with or without a ruling here. Even if he lost the ruling, I think John Gruden's going to coach again because he's building back, and I think people want him back in the league. And there is a chance, and I will not share this and what I know because it's a private matter, some of it. I can't share everything I know on this, and I know a lot, that if John Gruden does accept the settlement and it's a global number that your head would spin, I don't think anybody would begrudge John Gruden for taking that much money back from the NFL for what they did to him. So, again, it's a complicated issue. I wanted you to hear this conversation. I know what the rules are. I don't have any secrets in this, but I know all the players involved better than the other NFL insiders. They don't know Bruce Allen and John Gruden as good as I do. I'm sure some would say that they don't. So let's see what happens here. But again, I'm cool at being on the sidelines with this until it becomes news. I often say this on my radio shows, especially when it comes to politics or something big. When it becomes mainstream news, when you see sports that end up on the Today Show, Fox News and CNN, sports, it's because it's really big. This is one of those stories, right? Roger Goodell versus John Gruden. It's on the Today Show, CNN, Fox News. Everybody's talking about it. Then I can get involved with it. I never want to make news. I'm not the guy who breaks news. I don't like breaking the news to death, even though I get it first sometimes. I'm not into that. I don't want to break news on John Gruden and Bruce Allen. But I want you to get the information. And even Don Van Natta said, Brett Musburger made those comments on this show, on Raider Nation Radio. It was a professional hit against John Gruden. It was. All you got to remember is this on this topic. Here's what I'm going to leave you with. All you got to remember is this. John Gruden was on emails with Bruce Allen. They were great friends, not good friends, best friends. You have best friends too, right? You're on emails with your best friends? Of course you are. How would you feel if someone took Out of 6,000, 7,000 emails, took 11 that made you look bad. How would you like that? That's exactly what happened here. But here's the key. Here's the key, and I've never condoned what John Gruden said on those emails, nor would I ever condone if I said that, which I haven't, or you said it. Never condone that. But ask yourself why those emails were leaked. Number one, why were they leaked? Secondly, why did they come from a server of someone's private email and taken from that person? Point number two, and for Raider fans, this is the biggest one, the last one. The Raiders were 3-1. With the coach, they were given $100 million to the coach that the owner wanted, and the owner was friends with, and they came together, and they couldn't wait to work together. And it affected the Raiders. If the emails were taken from the Washington Redskins server and leaked, and it affected the Tennessee Titans, you wouldn't hear me interviewing this guy today. I'd probably interview him, on John Gruden. It affected the Raiders, and it affected everybody who played the Raiders. It's an integrity issue. So I think it's a compelling story going forward. And look, and the wildest thing about this is I'm not an anti-NFL guy and Roger Goodell guy. I make my living in the NFL. I love the NFL. I love it. But this is a big storyline that a lot of people are talking about. Don Van Natta, Mike Florio, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport. And our job is to give you content and for you to think about it. So we opened up the show with that. Your reaction to it, if you'd like to. If you want to get going, 702-365-9200 is the number. Really busy show. Raider Dad's going to call in a few minutes. He's got a great promotion. You got to bring kids to this game. There can't be empty seats at Allegiant Stadium when you can bring kids. You have to bring children to this game. I understand during the regular season what the tickets cost, and kids should be a priority, I think. But, kids in the preseason, do not let your tickets go to waste. Give them to Raider Dad, who's going to join me next. And I'll connect you with him so we can do that. Vinnie Bonsignore about practice today, what he saw, and what's going to happen before the 49er game coming up here. So that's where we're at. I think we're off to a really good start today. I've had a busy day already. Want to hear from you. The monologue was brought to you by Golden Entertainment. They own the Strat, and the Strat is rolling now. I tell everybody, when was the last time you went to the Strat? Well, I haven't been there in a little bit. Well, go and tell me what you think. Everything is kind of brand new at the Strat, and it looks really good, and I think you want to get in there and check it out. And they got a great meet and greet coming up with Tim Brown that I'm going to be talking to you about with an NFL kickoff that's coming up here. More on that when we come back on Raider Nation Radio.
It's the morning tailgate.
But I do think.
All right, good. That was a good interview.
That's really good. When you're riding in Damon, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, this is going to be a Palomar interception coming back. I got Michael Mayer's presser. It's 11 minutes. It's loaded, ready to go. In case this guy don't call.
Okay, he's calling.
Raider Nation Radio. Hey, guess you up for one second. I come in the middle of commercial green about 3 minutes. You need this, Josh?
Hey, Rebel fans, this is your head coach, Dan Mullen.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to
23.
introduce
Cool, I
you
guess
to
I'm
the
good.
Hall of Fame, exclusively at Whiskey Stadium.
All right, get in the chat, as my son would say. Get in the chat.
Are you craving amazing food that will actually fill you up?
I don't think a lot of people wanted Gruden fired. I think people wanted to see Gruden have a chance to win. And again, I'm not defending what he said in the emails. I'm not. And there was, he was talking amongst friends. They were getting raw and rude on an email and cracking jokes and saying things. I'm not condoning that. Never condoned it. So, that's it on that. Okay. Okay.
Personal injury law has been the same for a long time. Big egos, greed,
and sleazy schemes. Big and loud doesn't always mean right, and the conventional mold doesn't define success. Goodbye, false quick buck promises. We've had
Yeah, it's tough, man. There's things that happen in life that you can't go back in time with, Hey, send me that Van Natta interview afterwards, please.
Sorry, what?
Send me that full interview when you're done.
Not a problem. His name is Don, correct?
Yeah, Don Van Natta.
So if you've been hurt in a crash, call Sam and Ash, 702-303-0333. Sam and Ash, because you deserve what's right.
This summer, you'll be loving our London and America First Credit Union. Get new Visa credit cards with 0% interest APR for 6 months. Need a new ride? Get 90 days with no payments on new auto loans and 60 days no payments on our power sports loans. Our home equity loans start with an introductory 4.49% APR to refinance the adverse.
Todd Marinovich is going to join us. Todd Marinovich.
Apply today at AmericaFirst.com or visit the branch. Subject to membership eligibility, terms, credit reduced conditions, federally insured by NCUA. People has
I got his number in case he doesn't call in. We can call him.
All right.
Say
Oh, no, Raider, yeah. Oh,
Todd Marinovich at 1 o'clock.
okay, yeah, all right.
Saturday the 14th, as our great rock and ska acts at the events lawn with Goldfinger and guest Unwritten Law and Zebra Head. Music only at Virgin Hotels Las Vegas.
The world's largest Formula One attraction is now open at Grand Prix Plaza. Step into the action with F1X, a cutting-edge 4D experience where you design your own custom.
Who's got their Eric Allen hat yet, man? Yes, Raider Dad. Josh is on hold. Who's got their Eric Allen hat? Cisco, you got one of these bad boys yet? Think that'd look good on you, Cisco. Black hole icon, Cisco there. Appreciate you to being there. Kevin Durant will return to Oklahoma City for Thunder Ring Night.
Brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka. Visit Tito'sVodka.com.
This is the front for the silver and black. The starter's out there as Locke's looking left out of the shotgun. Pressure on him, throws it out to the corner. Intercepted by the Raiders. That ball has been intercepted. Are they saying he has it?
Yep.
Yes, he does.
What an amazing
Isaiah
play.
Palomal with the interception for the silver and black. That's an Isaiah Palomal interception. I was on the call with EA. How cool was that to call the game with Matt Millen, legend, and Eric Allen? His first broadcast as a Hall of Famer. And Eric I and Matt Millen will be on the call coming up Saturday. That game's at 1 o'clock. So everybody get to Allegiant Stadium early. Josh joins us, Raider Dad, kind enough to jump in here. And again, he's doing so much here in town. We want to highlight him as much as he can because, Josh, you got a big event coming out here again, tailgate and bringing kids to the game. Tell us how we can all help.
This is the biggest week of the season for us. Every year we take around 50 kids to one game. Right now we're at 38 tickets. So if you would like to get an experience, you can donate at vegasraiderdad@gmail.com. We're going to throw a tailgate for the kids, a lot of cool experiences, but it's really about creating a break from reality and help building Raider Nation.
So that's vegasraiderdad@gmail.com is how to donate the tickets, the electronic tickets, if you want to do it that way.
Yeah, you can do that using the Raiders app. You can send us an email, and we can also assist you with getting those tickets so we can get an experience that, it could be a lifelong memory for a lot of these kids.
Yeah, it is. And I know because I've seen it up close. Why is this such a big passion of yours? And I know you have a new addition to the family. Tell me about how this concept came about, why it's growing, and why everybody involved with you feels so good about it.
I even hear you talk about it sometimes. You share these experiences that you've shared with your own family, your dad. It's about just creating these experiences for your kids, and it builds a family relationship. Sports is one way to connect with your family, and not only just your family, even complete strangers. When we're at games, we see people we don't even know. We're high-fiving, hugging, and that's like one of the few places in the world that people are doing that, coming together. For me, I became a season ticket holder for that bond, and it's just something really special to me. And I realized it wasn't just me that had this idea. A lot of fans have been doing this for decades. But for me, you've seen my kids, grow through the Raiders, and also help other people and understand, what the mission can mean for other people.
Raider Dad is our guest. Josh joins us. If you are not going to the game, please donate your tickets to him so kids can get the experience of a lifetime and go to a Raider game. He does it every preseason. What's it like when you talk to the parents about this, or the parents that can't afford it, or just not, this isn't a priority for them because they have so many other priorities in their families and lives, when you tell them that these kids were selected and they're going to go in a protected environment and have this experience?
You would think something like this is, accessible to everybody, but think about the topic of Las Vegas being so expensive here right now. I started talking about that a few years ago when it pertained to Raider games. And a lot of families don't have the means to do this. And that's why we don't just give families tickets. We create the experience by giving them, whether it's shirts. You'll see this weekend we have different caterers out there providing food, beverages. There'll be Raider Dad necklaces. It's the full experience, because it's not just the ticket price. Just think about the parking, anything inside that stadium. Not everybody is fortunate enough to have those means to do that, and we're lucky enough to do that for other people. And it's allowing families to step outside their situation. I'll give you an example. This weekend, there's a family that their daughter has, she's in remission right now of cancer. And she sent a text last night, just like sharing, what it means to be able to do this. Because most families, right before school, they would go on a vacation. They haven't had the opportunity to do this, and they're just super excited. They'll actually be at training camp also tomorrow. So it's just a great memory and a great opportunity for a lot of families.
So tell us about the tailgate and where you're going to be together for those who are coming into the game, want to stop by, maybe make a donation, see the kids. Where are we going to find you on the ground at Allegiant Stadium?
Yeah, so we'll be in Lot H, which is where the buses drop off the RTC. Closest to Dean Martin. We're always in row 1. You'll see a lot of different caterers, Jay's Gourmet, Buffalo Wild Wings, Raising Cane's, a lot of people coming together to, decrease costs to make this possible for so many families in our community.
Thank you so much. Thanks for doing this. You always have a home here on Raider Nation Radio if we can help you along the way.
Appreciate it, JT. Hope to see you soon.
You got it. Raider Dad, Josh, doing great things. I've said for years, the amount of charity work that we do and we want to be involved with depends on you. I'm one of the guys that likes to tell people the charity work that I do, not to look at me, but to remind people that you can do it, right? This isn't, hey, look at me, I'm involved with Max Crosby's foundation, or I'm doing Coaches vs. Cancer for you to say, wow, JT's cool. It's the exact opposite. It's to remind you how to donate to those charities or to help. That's all we're doing here. We're just a portal. We have a voice here. If you need charity help in town and you're legit, that's a big part of it. If you're a legit charity and you're doing the right thing, you have a home on this radio show. You can call in whenever you want and talk about what you're doing to help other people. That's the least I can do with this seat here. So Anthony and Modesto, you're up. I appreciate you waiting for Raider Dad to get through. Anthony, go ahead. What's on your mind?
Man, that's good information. The Raider Dad does it, man. Hey, props to you, Raider Dad, man. That's great, man, helping the kids out. Hey, real quick on the John Gruden thing, man, I appreciate you breaking that stuff, telling me. I guess you got to be kind of nerdy to really get into that. For me, I've looked into it. I've tried to watch it here as much as I can. My 4-year-old spoke on it a while back. But that information to me is so valid. But again, the NFL is so big. I don't see how. And like you said, if Chucky takes the settlement or Mr. Gruden takes the settlement, if there is a settlement, yeah, good for him to take it. But what it did to the team, to like you said, we were 3-1. It's disappointing as a fan that this could take place. Now, was it a cover-up for maybe another owner? I won't say the name, or is it a cover-up for something for John Gruden to take the fall on it? That's disappointing as a fan to hear that type of stuff goes on. But you'd have to be oblivious to think that doesn't go on. So I'm glad you got it out there more, and I don't think you'll hear it on ESPN or any major networks talking what you put out there today, JT. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for that. And again, I don't want to be the guy that pumps around and says, hey, ESPN can't have that interview, but ESPN can't do that interview. But then again, Don Van Natta works for ESPN, and he's writing the article. So there is transparency with ESPN on the John Gruden, Roger Goodell story, because we just had on the senior writer from ESPN. If he was told he can't come on radio to talk about it, he wouldn't be on. But now that ESPN and Disney and the NFL are coming together, people are going to question what will the transparency look like going forward. And again, I understand, because when you're running a big business like Disney and ESPN and the NFL, you have to have rules. Why do you think I have rules on this show with the Raiders? We have rules. We don't sit here and call and fire the coach. We don't sit here and make fun of the owner and take shots at the owner. We don't do that. We have rules. We like to be elevated. But when it comes to the NFL and what they know or didn't know about John Gruden's emails and how those emails were leaked, everybody knows this one last point before we come back in a minute. Bruce Allen didn't leak the emails. John Gruden didn't leak the emails. Those two guys, it was their conversation. Neither one of those two guys in their private emails leaked those emails to the Wall Street Journal. Who did? The cover-up is always bigger than the crime. Say it with me. The cover-up is bigger than the crime. When you get nailed and you get caught and you're nailed, you're caught. If you want to cover it up and make it worse, go ahead and do it. So the Raiders, I don't know what the Raiders, someone asked me in the chat, what would the Raiders' record have been if John Gruden didn't have to resign? I have no idea. I can tell you one thing, it would have been 10 or 11 wins. It might have been a home playoff game for the first time in Allegiant history. Raiders were playing well, and Gruden really had that team rocking early on in the year. But we'll never know. And John's now making big money with Barstool. You know, in the big picture, if John Gruden settles with the league, and I have no idea what the settlement would be. But if John Gruden settled with the league for $500 million, $500 million, or $200 million, I bet you he would donate a lot of that money to his charities and the people that he helps. John Gruden wants to come back and coach. He wants to coach. And I think he deserves to coach, and maybe this will help him get back. But the NFL wants to kick the can down the road. They want to kick the can down the road. And now they can't anymore. They're either going to have to go to the Supreme Court of the United States or settle. Or they're going to have to go to court. And John Gruden's attorney is going to have discovery. And look out for that. Hey, I want to thank Grimaldi's. They don't do a lot. They do it with us. We've had the longest running relationship with Grimaldi's. Best pizza I've ever had. 4 locations. So we're talking about what we're doing with them this year. They want us on the road a little bit more. We said, hell yeah. Are you kidding me? So we can go on the road with fans, go to Grimaldi's and have a couple of pizzas and talk sports. More details to come. All right, Vinnie Bonsignore. Vinnie Bonsignore is on deck. What do we want to ask Vinnie Bonsignore? Modelo. My coffee mug. Look at that. Modelo. I want to give a shout out to Vinny for a second if I can. Every once in a while, someone will tag me and Vinny on the same tweet, and they'll be mocking Vinny, not me. Maybe because they know I'll slide into their DMs and come right at them. I don't know. But they'll say that Vinny got a story wrong, or Vinny does an unbelievable job. Vinny's reporting what he sees. Vinny's not a fan. I'm a fan. I'm a fan behind the microphone. Vinny's a journalist. He's got a tougher job than me. He's got to come on the radio and have journalistic integrity. I was on the Krug show today with Damon Bruce. We did a good hour on that if you want to go find it, on the Niners versus Raiders, the history and all that. It was really good. My cousin Vinny. Vinny is good, but Vinny isn't a Raider. JT's a Raider. It's not fair to say that about Vinny. Vinny's no different than me, man. Vinny has a job. Got to remember, guys, sometimes, and gals, you forget we have jobs, man. This isn't a podcast. It's not a hobby for us. We got jobs. Bobby's on Twitter now. Bobby, what's your Twitter?
At Bobby the Machado.
Just no Lotus in there? Hey, everybody give Bobby a follow on Twitter. If you want to be entertained, be careful. Hey, everybody give Bobby a follow on X. I just put it in the chat. Man, you want to be entertained, man. You want to be entertained. Bobby's on X now. Watch out. If you've ever followed Bobby on Facebook, am I following you correctly on Facebook? You've been suspended a few times, correct?
Yeah,
a few times.
Hey, Vinny, it's Bobby. How you doing? Doing all right. Give me about 2 minutes. I get you up, okay? He's all set. And this is going to be Jordan Meredith talking about Chip Kelly's offense coming back.
Yeah, that was a good show. Damon Bruce, Larry Krueger. At one point, all three of us had the same agent. We were all kind of intertwined business-wise, and they're doing a nice job on YouTube. You know, Wednesday for me is the day I come up for air because Monday and Tuesday night I do Mad Dog, 7 to 10. My voice is really scratchy, as you can tell. And then we got a lot of events this week. With the Raider alumni in town. Yeah, Tony, the app is lvsportsnetwork.com. LV Sports Network.
Grimaldi's has 4 locations in the Vegas Valley, or check it out online at grimaldispizzeria.com.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show. Brought to you by the De Casta Verde Law Group. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-222-9999.
I don't want to give anything away, but just, going out there and seeing the defense and seeing how they react to stuff, and just asking them what they see. You can tell sometimes it can be difficult for the defense to see what we're doing and then decipher what it is and then go attack it. So that's a lot of fun.
All right. That's Jordan Meredith, who looks to be the new center of the Silver and Black as we bring in the great Vinnie Bonsignore, who is working nonstop radio, Vegas Nation, Las Vegas Review-Journal. He's kind enough to join us every Wednesday. The obvious question is, why play him at center with limited experience at best compared to Jackson Powers Johnson going forward, Vinny?
Yeah, well, a couple of different things. Number one, they feel that Jordan Meredith at his size projects better, profiles better at center rather than guard. They also believe or have a inkling that he's one of their best 5 offensive linemen and should be out there with that group of 5 somewhere. And if they feel like his best position is center based on how he physically profiles rather than guard, they were going to give him an opportunity to prove that, or to prove their instincts correct. And so far, so good as it relates to that. Doesn't say anything bad about Jackson Powers Johnson whatsoever. He's obviously, I would say, penciled in right now as a starting right guard. It hasn't helped Alex Kappa's case that he's dealing with a rib injury, so he hasn't been out there in a little while. So it's been Jackson Powers Johnson steadily with the first team as the first team right guard. So one way or another, it'll get sorted out. But I think that Jordan Meredith, to his credit, has shown this coaching staff up to now that he's one of the best 5 offensive linemen on this team, and his best position is at center.
Vinny, how important is it on Saturday afternoon for the Raiders to get a push at the line of scrimmage in the running game? Not pass protection, which I think they'll be okay at, but really get off the ball as a cohesive unit there and move the pile so Ashton Genty can find a hole to rip through.
Yeah, and honestly, not just Saturday, but tomorrow as well when 49ers come through the practice facility at Henderson. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on that. And, you're probably going to see more of what they actually are going to do in the regular season at the practice than you are on Saturday in the game, because, they don't play the 49ers this year. So no worry to them unless they face each other in the Super Bowl. That'd be a great problem to have. But you're going to see what they do more on Thursday than you're going to see on Saturday. So I want to see that happening on Saturday. And yes, you can't tackle. We get that. But opening holes and getting a push in the run game and doing what you want to do in the run game, that's all going to be on the table tomorrow when the 49ers come out here. So I think it's critical that the Raiders are able to do that and get that done tomorrow and then carry it over into the game on Saturday.
Yeah, Vinny, I went on a deep dive today on Niners radio about the Niners and all their injuries and how they're banged up. As much as 19 players that have been hurt at some point here. They're a walking mash unit. We were in Costa Mesa last year when Kyle canceled with the Saints. All indications are he's going to put a team out there tomorrow. So when you look at the individual matchups, and I love individual one-on-one drills, is there a couple of things you can take our audience behind the scenes, a couple of the matchups that you're looking forward to the most?
Yeah, well, first of all, the Kyle Shanahan, Pete Carroll / Patrick Graham. I know that's not on the field, but they're going to try to, to pull out all the stops and have each other's number, and do all the things that you're trying to do schematically to give your team the edge. That's something I'm definitely going to be looking at. I think it's a great opportunity for the Raiders against the 49ers because they're always so well coached. They always have, great talent. So this is a great test across the board from the coaches right on down to the players. But, when you're talking about the Boses of the world against the DJ Glazes or the Colton Millers, I think that's one to watch. I want to see the young wide receivers playing against the 49ers cornerbacks, getting off the ball. What are they doing from a route concept? And then also, from the Raiders' perspective, they're young cornerbacks, and it is a young group outside of Eric Stokes. He's the grizzled old veteran on this team. He's not even that old, but beyond that, it's just very young prospects for the Raiders. This is a high level, high sophisticated offense for the 49ers that do a whole lot of unique things to get you looking one way when actually the action's going in entirely different directions. So being able to see the young cornerbacks and how they stand up to the challenge of defending not only good wide receivers and a really great young quarterback, but also what Kyle Shanahan is asking them to do and putting the type of pressure that he puts on a defense from a schematical standpoint. How do those young cornerbacks hold up to that? Yeah,
I looked at Caillou Kelly when he played in high school, and I saw a couple of Bishop Gorman players play in high school that went on to the NFL. So I was sitting in the stands for a lot of those games when my son played, and I like it, but I didn't expect Caillou to be playing this good. And that's not a knock on him. I just thought, there's going to be other corners, veterans around the league. Pete's going to get an older guy to come in, Stephon Gilmore type of player. I'm impressed. I'm impressed when a young guy can go out there and go against the odds and fit in here. What's it about his size and height and strength that is different from Jacorian Bennett or some of the other guys as he's been flashing the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, and it's not just about the size or the strength. It's how do you fit in the scheme, and are you bringing, the kind of the style of play and how they're teaching their fundamentals and their technique in this defense. And I'll give Caillou Blue Kelly. I'll get it right.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give Caillou a lot of credit here because he's been every opportunity that he's been given. So far, going all the way back to OTAs and minicamp and now training camp, he's mastered it, and he's passed the test, and that's allowed him to rise up the depth chart. And real quick before we even get into that, I think it also says a lot about the coaching staff. You can't just talk about competition and being about competition and making sure that not only are you holding on to your job through competition, but you're winning a job through competition, but also that you could come from third team to first team through competition. If you're not truly about that, then you can't talk about it. But they are about that, and Caillou is a perfect example of that. He was nowhere to starting out here, all the way down in the third, kind of fourth team of the depth chart, and yet now he's taken first team reps and has solidly placed himself in contention for a rotational role at the very least. I like the footwork, the handwork, the instincts. He made a nice play yesterday on that interception. We all saw that. But today, he made a fantastic play on a reading of the route, jumping the ball and knocking it. I forgot who the wide receiver was, but making a play. Those are the type of things that catch the coach's eyes, obviously. He's only 23 years old. He's got some experience in the NFL. Moving around in the NFL. One thing I'll say about that, he was cut 3 times as a rookie, but there was always a team that picked him, that claimed him off waivers. And it's not just signing him as a free agent or to their practice squad. Other teams invested waiver wires in him, which meant they assumed the contract and everything else. So even though he was getting cut, and a lot of those cases, it was because of a numbers game that he was up against, there were other teams that claimed him off waivers, which leads you to believe that there's value for this player, that other teams see value in him. So we'll see where it all goes. But to his credit, he's taken advantage of every opportunity. And to the Raiders' credit, they stayed true to their word about competition.
Yes, Vinny, heading into the second preseason game, let's thank your partners here on Raider Nation Radio.
Absolutely. Local Loca Tequila. If you want to enjoy Local Loca Tequila, the hottest new tequila brand in Las Vegas, just check them out over at all the Lee's Liquors here in Las Vegas. And get hooked up. They have all the great products that Local Loca puts out.
I will see you at your radio set tomorrow for the joint practice. Thank you, Vinny.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it, JT.
Thank you, Vinny. Appreciate that. And yeah, the Caillou Kelly story is great. My son played on the state championship team at Bishop Gorman with Caillou. That's how far we go back. Watching him play football now, he's doing more than I expected. He's really looking for significant playing time for the Raiders at cornerback. Bobby, congratulations. That was a great hour. That's what I thrive to do every day. If every hour was like this every day, I would be in the pool having a Modelo every day at 2:30. I would be. Every day I'd have a Modelo at 2:30. Raider Dad, Vinnie Bonsignore, and Don Van Natta on the Gruden versus the league. That was a heck of an hour. So if you like the podcast, the hour, everyone wants a podcast, the hour. Podcast that hour. Brought to you by Modelo, the fighting spirit of Modelo. When you think of Modelo, I think of the fighting spirit of Tom Flores, Jim Plunkett, Dave Casper. I tell you, if the snake was alive, I'd love to have a Modelo with him. Raider Alumni Weekend. Can't wait to tell you about it next. Who's next? Todd Marinovich. Todd Marinovich next. Wow. Let's do that. That's a big interview coming up here. Let's do that. Hold on. Let's get this going. Steve Wright said Marin. All right, I got to prep for this interview for a second. So if you can give me 1 second on this. Let me screenshot that. I hope Todd shows up for the interview. I would think he would. He's a good man. I met him a few times at Alumni Weekend. All right. I'll be joined by former Raider quarterback. Todd Marinovich. All right. What do we got in the chat? 24th pick, 1991 from the LA Raiders.
Just in case you got to call him.
Well, I have his, you have his number. I gave it to you, right?
Raider Nation Radio. Sure, what's your name?
Okay.
I'm sorry. Can you say that slowly?
Mm-hmm.
Wasted talent Raider. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Hey, tell him we're gonna have him on after Todd Marinovich. So
Yeah, listen, we got Todd Marinovich coming up top of the hour, so I'm gonna have you on right afterwards.
so if he wants to call back in 10 minutes or
No, but you want to hold on, or you want to call back in about 10 minutes? Sure enough. Cool. See you then. Take care. All right. Call him back in 10 minutes.
okay. We're also going to have on Wasted Talent. Does anybody know Wasted Talent? He's a podcaster. I went on his podcast. He was pretty good. So we're going to get him on the radio on the flagship. I gave him Marinovich's number.
No, not yet.
All right.
I just checked the one again.
Hold on. Sent. Yep.
All right. I do now.
No, you do.
I gotta get Jesse Merrick also.
Yeah, he's at 1:30.
Yep.
JT the Brick on Raider Nation Radio. It's the JT the Brick Show. You know, obviously it means a lot to me being a part of the Silver and Black alone. You know, the history, said it a million times. I feel like I was meant to be a Raider. I love being here. Your Silver and Black home to sound off for over 25 years.
It's amazing, opportunity, great community here, great fan base. So I'm expecting a lot of fun, a lot of energy, a lot of great times.
It's going to be all about competition, and there's going to be no easy games in our division.
And now here's JT the Brick.
Wow, what a great first hour of the show. It's hour number 2 on the flagship of the Silver and Black Raider Nation Radio. We are brought to you by La Casa Cigars and Lounge at Tivoli Village. As we open up hour number 2 of the show, we got a big hour lined up. We're supposed to be joined by Todd Marinovich. He's got a book out here. The former Raider quarterback is going to join us. Jesse Merrick, also another talented podcaster, Wasted Talent, is going to jump in here and join us. So we got a lot happening here, man. This is going to be cool. And the first hour, we had Don Van Natta on, the ESPN senior writer, on John Gruden versus the NFL, Vinnie Bonsignore, and Raider Dad. Maybe they can put this, Bobby, and give this show to a Marconi nominee or something, man. We are hitting it big today. So I appreciate everybody who's watching the show. I was very active today on YouTube. Before the show, I was on 2 different shows on KMBR and with Larry Kruger and Damon Bruce breaking down the Niners and the Raiders. That game is coming up on Saturday. So that's where we stand with all of that as we wait on Todd Marinovich to check in here too. The Raider-Niner game is interesting. The Niners are banged up. They're coming here, I would assume, tonight, and they'll be here, and then they'll have that joint practice tomorrow. With all the injuries they have and all the starters that are hurt, I don't know how we're going to see the competition level. I know it's going to be intense competition from the Raiders side. The Raiders are going to be really ready to go because I believe the Raiders have to play well. The Raiders have to be ready to go. They have to be ready to go for this practice. This is their biggest practice of the year. The biggest practice of the year, period. And the game, I'm not going to say the game's more important than Seattle or Arizona, but I'm guessing, and I'll find out more this week, if the starters are going to play more. See, the Raiders lost 10 games in a row last year. Now they have a new regime. The new regime would like to see this team play some good football. Well, how are they going to do that? They can do that in camp, and we've all reported camp's been pretty good. Overall, camp has been very good. The game wasn't very good in Seattle, especially the first quarter. Okay, that doesn't mean camp isn't going swimmingly nice. It is. But this practice is going to be important because you're going to have insiders. Our broadcast team is going to be there. There's going to be NFL insiders who are going to be here for that. And they're going to look at the matchups. And they all have Twitter, X, and they're going to tweet out if the Raiders did good or bad or how good the Niners did. So we're going to know by this time tomorrow how the Raiders looked in their joint workout. I hope they look good. And then depending on what happens at that workout and how hard they play, maybe that'll affect the minutes as we see on Saturday coming up here. But Pete's all about competition. He took him out of pads today because he's got a padded joint practice tomorrow. That makes a lot of sense. So what do you want to see tomorrow if you're going to practice? And if you are going to practice, I will see you there. I'll be there on the sideline. I hope you're coming to the practice tomorrow. I hope you're coming if you got a chance to get a ticket and go, because this is going to be a big one. This is one of the marquee practices in the entire NFL. And when we're able to see that and watch it, I think we'll have a lot of answers. And we'll be able to talk about a lot of different things here. So if you're going tomorrow, let me know. 702-365-9200 is the number. And I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what the competition looks like. I want to see who's going to guard Kittle. That's what I want to see. I want to see who's going to guard Kittle. And if Kittle's going to step up and play well. And, I think this is a time where we're in a position where we got to get rolling here and we got to have some really good games and performances because these are professional paid football players and they have to do a good job. And if they don't do a good job, all it's going to do is get Raider fans worked up that they're not doing the right thing, which might not be the case. If the Raiders have a bad performance in a quarter of a game, I'm not going to freak out because Pete Carroll's got control of the team. But if they don't play well in the regular season for 2 or 3 games, then we're going to have something to talk about here. Shedeur Sanders strained oblique while warming up today. How is that possible? Won't practice tomorrow, unlikely to play against the Eagles. Strained oblique. A young kid in great shape gets an opportunity of a lifetime and he can't play with a strained oblique. You got to be kidding me on that. So when it comes to this, these are really big storylines. Todd Marinovich, former Raider quarterback, USC legend, kind enough to join us. Alumni weekend coming up. And Todd, congratulations on the book. Coming right out of the gate. #1 bestseller 2 weeks running. No signs of slowing down. How excited are you?
Oh, it's a surprise and super grateful. And I'm the team of me and Lizzie together just worked out well.
Yeah, this is a great teammate. When you write a book and you have a writer you trust, was that the key here going down the road here, that you were going to talk to someone who was going to give your story and your voice, and you really trusted the process and the timing was right for you?
Exactly. You hit it on the head. It was all about timing. And I ran into Steve Wright, an offensive lineman, when I played. And what an outstanding human he is. And when he said he got married and he introduced me to his wife, Lizzie, and they just finished writing his book, he says, "Why don't you do it?" And I went, "Well, I trust Steve, and so I trust Lizzie." And it just, like I said, everything just fell into place.
Yeah, fabulous. I have it, and I'm going through it now. Again, congratulations on this. I'm going to jump around, but I wanted to talk about your sobriety and fighting through addiction. And where are you at currently in this stage of your sobriety and your life, and where you're at and how at peace you are as we talk today?
Well, I'm a work in progress. When I think I got it, it's very, very dangerous. And so, it's cliche, but truly is one day at a time. And all I do really have is right now. And so if I can stay in that mindset, my day goes pretty good. It's just being consistent. It can be a grind. And I couldn't do it without the people around me. That's 100%.
So are you someone in recovery that really cares a lot and needs your support staff? Like, you're someone who's come to the point where you don't want to do it alone because it's too tough. And I know a lot of people who are in treatment or in sobriety that they need a great team around you. Is this the best time in your life with your team and your support staff around you?
Yeah, and it's the same how the analogy of I wouldn't go out onto the Coliseum field by myself and take on the New York Giants. It would be ridiculous. So it's the same thing with recovery. Why would I end? It's just more fun. I mean, if I could do it by myself, why would I? But I can't. So I need people.
Todd Marinovich is our guest. Todd, to the early years of your life when your dad and his connection to the Raiders and Al Davis, and I want to get to Mr. Davis and Mark in a bit here, but when you were training as a young boy with your diet and your prep, have we ever seen anything like that? Because a lot of people have reached out to you about the training that you had and how aggressive it was when you were a young boy, and it got you to the NFL and to an elite status in college. And I'm sure you'd like to look back and give people advice on the good and bad and all that. And really, as you wrote the book, what was so intense about being Todd Marinovich at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old?
Sorry, you broke up. What about being?
Yeah, what was so intense about that as a young boy with your routine, your diet, your preparation, your parents, your guidance to try to get you to where it was? Do you have regrets from that? Or at some points do you look back and say some of it worked out to get you to USC?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know which things that I did were the turning point for me. And I just did a lot of stuff with my dad. And, it's hard to say. And you asked about intensity. You haven't met Marv. He is very, very off the charts intense. And to a fault, and a perfectionist, which he's passed on to me. It's just, it's difficult. Marv challenges his athletes, and the thing about him, he really can't differentiate between a 7-year all-pro guy and a kid going into the second grade. It's just all or nothing. And so it was an experience, and I think that some of the stuff that he came up with, it really changed me athletically. And I don't know if I could have done it without it. I don't know if I could have reached the heights I did or the level that I did without that kind of training, because I was athletic and I had some football in my genes, but would that be enough? You never know.
Todd Marinovich is our guest. At the height of your high school career in the early years at USC, when do you think you were at your best? The UCLA game, was there a moment where you walked off the field, your dad's there, the press is there, and you said, oh my God, I've hit the pinnacle, even though you were going to get better, but you were in the zone? Were you one of those athletes that knew when you were in the zone at times and you were at your absolute best?
Sure. I just wish I could get in there more often and at will. And that's the key. And especially if the bigger the game, I truly like to shine in those big games. And you mentioned probably one of my best games against UCLA, but it's moments. I have never really been in a whole game in the zone. But what a magical place that is. And you don't get there unless you spend the time. And that's what gave me confidence, because I prepared for so many years.
Hey, Todd, I wanted to ask you about Mr. Davis, because he always loved gifted athletes. He liked speed, and your dad's relationship with him. When did Mr. Davis come on your radar? And, you know, we're looking back at the most influential draft picks in Raider history, and you were a very memorable pick for the Raiders in LA, and Al Davis. Can you give us an Al Davis story when he walked up to you on the field, or you had a conversation that you can really share with us?
You know, Mr. Davis I was a big fan, because pretty much, you know, everybody knows he's the one making the decisions on draft day. So I was extremely grateful and honored, truly, to be taken in the first round by the Raiders. And so the way my career ended with them, it was a hard thing for him to experience. And one was that day that he called me in to say, I got to let you go. He was devastated.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, the relationship, the history with the family. Todd, as we wrap it up, when, you know, my wife was giving tours at the stadium for years, and she would take people by your art. And I want to talk about the evolution of your art and Mark Davis. Mark Davis really understood your art and what your art looked like and how important it would be in Allegiant Stadium. How proud are you of your artwork and a lot of it that's in Allegiant Stadium now?
Yeah, that's all Mark Davis. You know, I don't know if I truly got the concept, once a Raider, always a Raider. But man, Mark lays out the red carpet for any player that has played a down or 10 years. It didn't matter. And that reunion is really something special. And my art with them kicked off after my first reunion. And they've just been so supportive, giving me confidence, and a great venue to display my art. I don't think there's a better gallery.
Yeah, absolutely. You should be really proud. Your artwork is exceptional, and I got a chance to see you at the reunions. Todd, last one, the book is out. It's doing well. Connect with our audience on why they should buy this book. What is the hook to the book and how it can change lives?
Well, you don't have to be a football fan to read the book. You don't have to be a male. I mean, if you have a family or a friend that maybe is struggling through addiction, this might give you some insight into it. Also, an insight for parents. If they have an athletic child, what route are they going to go? Is it going to be all year round one sport, or, like I believe, play as many as you can and mix it up? Because each sport will add to the next. I think basketball is the greatest game that I played that helped my game on the football field, without a doubt. And it just kills me when I hear that today. It's kind of normal that kids are just playing one.
Yeah.
And they're missing a big experience, because it's truly all about experience and relationships. When I go to these reunions, we don't talk about the score or what. It's just connecting, because we connected 30-some years ago, and that's for life.
Outstanding. Are you coming in for reunion weekend? Will we see you out here?
I'm not going to be able to make it this year, but man, I'll miss it. It's a highlight every year.
Well, hopefully we get you out here for a game, because, again, you're in the gallery. Your art is featured all over. You're a big part of the Davis legacy, and Thanks for doing this, Todd. Keep going well with the book. And anytime you want to talk to Raider fans, please come on the show. They love you.
Oh, I really appreciate it. And, have a great day, guys.
You're right. Todd Marinovich. How about that? So Todd's led a troubled life, but he's in a good place now, hopefully. And the book is out, and I just got the book, and I started going through it for the interview, and I'll go through it more. I mean, when you only have 15 minutes with someone to talk about, I could do an hour, and I probably will on a podcast about what it was like when his dad, Marv, was pushing him so hard in the lab, in the garage, to be a perfect human being. Only could eat certain things, when he could eat it, the weights, how often, and it worked. But what cost did it work out mentally to have a deep effect on Todd later in his life with addiction? And that's a personal issue that a dad and a son have to come through. No doubt about that. But a fascinating guy, really successful artist, and Mark's got his art at Allegiant Stadium. If you're in the club section or anywhere in the stadium, ask someone, or if you go on a tour, to say, take me to Todd Marinovich's art. I think you'll be really impressed. I'm impressed when I was on with Wasted Talent on his podcast a couple of weeks ago. He's really knowledgeable as a Raider fan, and I wanted to get him up here on the flagship. Wasted Talent, thanks a lot. Let's begin with your preseason so far. How's it going on your channel? What are you thinking about the Raiders and everything that's happening so far in training camp?
Man, JT, first of all, thank you for having me on. And secondly, when it comes to preseason, I am just kind of floored with the culture change of the Raiders, right? Like, it kind of feels like adults are running the organization. And now, watching the last preseason game, it was a little sloppy, 10 penalties, that 23-23 tie. I'm just so excited to see what the Raiders can do against the 49ers, man. I think this is the true test of how much of a leap we've made this offseason.
Where do you stand on Jackson Powers-Johnson most likely moving to guard instead of center?
At first I was a little apprehensive about it because of how well he played in the second half of last year. But listening to, Lincoln Kennedy, listening to guys like, Richie Incognito, which is really my comp for Jackson Powers-Johnson when he's come out of Oregon. He reminds me a lot of Richie Incognito. I think schematically, the issues that he's having, but him not being the center, is the fact that, maybe he's not grasping, all of the calls and stuff. And when you talk about a center, they're essentially the quarterback of the offensive line. And if he's not grasping all of the techniques and the concepts, to me, it's probably better that he does play guard, right? Because Jordan Meredith has made some big strides this offseason. It seems like Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll really, really trust him. And, being how intricate the offense that Chip Kelly runs, we can't have any issues with the exchange between the center and the quarterback. So, I'm all for it. And I think later on in Jackson Powers-Johnson's career, if he wants to play center, once he gets more into his studies, I think he will make that ascension to center at another time. But I think this is the best for him. It's all about putting the best five guys out there to protect Geno.
Wasted Talent joins us. Wanted to get him on the show. We'll have him on the show more often. I think he has a unique take as a fan and a podcaster for what we're seeing here with the Raiders. Are you on board with this Pete Carroll secondary size and strength? He wants a certain player to look a certain size and strength, hand side, and Jacorian Bennett is gone, and they're going to go with Darian Porter, a converted wide receiver who looks like he's been flashing at corner.
Yeah, I'm totally on board with it. I mean, if you look back at the past, right, you can kind of see how the future is going to be. And when you look back at Darian Porter, to me, it reminds me a lot of what happened in Seattle with Tariq Woolen and what also happened with Richard Sherman. And I don't like to put the Richard Sherman comp on him too much because it's a Hall of Fame player eventually, but you can't help but to look at the similarities there. Similar size, both converted wide receivers, and both guys that Pete Carroll relied on early on in their careers. Like the archetype of the Legion of Boom kind of corner and secondary is something that I'm very, very happy about because these wide receivers in the National Football League, these guys are becoming, like unstoppable. The tight ends, the wide receivers, they're so big and physical and talented. You have to have somebody that can kind of mirror that kind of level of physicality and size. You don't have a lot of wide receivers that are, below 6'2", that are really making noise in the National Football League. So, to me, this archetype is going to be the future of what everyone else is probably going to do.
So give me some expectations for you this year. You connect with a lot of fans. and your audience there, when you look at this team and the fans really feeling like the last couple of years have been tough, and they have been tough, high expectations and letdowns, why do you feel like this season could be different?
I mean, one, because of the way the roster's built, and two, because, you know, going into last season, right, we had so many question marks, and we have question marks this year, right? But the one question mark that we don't have is at the top, and everything starts from the top. We know that Pete Carroll is an excellent coach. We don't have to guess. We don't have to surmise. We know Pete Carroll is an excellent head coach on every level of football, right? So that begins and ends right there with me. You know, even when we go back to the Josh McDaniels time, when we go back to Antonio Pierce, we did not know what we were getting from a head coach perspective. We know schematically, we know from a culture perspective that the Raiders are ready to go, and we have a top-notch situation. And we have a top-notch situation when you're talking about the front office and John Spytek. And another reason why is I just feel like the level of competition at every level of this roster, just by virtue of the fact that they're even willing to move Jackson Powers Johnson from center to guard, shows me everything I need to know about what's going on in the organization right now. You know, it's all competition. And one thing I wanted to touch on real quick is the fact that they have reached back into the Al Davis bag of tricks, and they've brought in guys who were high draft picks, guys who were, you know, very, very talented, and guys are getting a chance to resurrect their careers with the Raiders. And that is a humongous, you know, to me, reason why I feel like the Raiders are going to get a much better result. Guys like Jamal Adams, you know, Devin White. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how these guys can resurrect their career here with the Raiders.
Awesome. Tell everybody about your backstory, how you got into Raider world of podcasting, how everybody can follow you, and we'll have you on again. What's the backstory?
The backstory, you know, I grew up a Raider fan. Our family from the Bay Area, you know, my dad and my grandfather made me a humongous Raider fan. It's always been a great joy in my life. And I got into podcasting. I got sick during COVID. I was home, you know, for the first time in my life, because I'm, you know, hardworking guy, home for the first time in my life. And I kind of got into, you know, watching, you know, Raider YouTube. And, you know, I had connected with some of the guys on Raider YouTube, and my show took off, and it's just become a great joy to me. You know, like I'm a lineman. I've been at my job for 25 years, you know, so I've never really had a whole lot of time to do this. And once I got sick during COVID and I was home for a few months, I started my podcast, and I hit the ground running. And it's something that's really, really saved my life. You know, it was something that I needed in my life, because, you know, us as men, sometimes we work, we provide, we do all the things for our families that we do. We don't put ourselves first, and we don't look at things that we find enjoyment in. And since I started this show, man, it's really, really been just a great love of mine. And I'm really looking forward to my platform growing. And, you know, I'm on YouTube, Raider Nation Unlimited, Wasted Talent Raiders on YouTube. And, you know, hey, if anybody's out there listening, please come on over, hit that subscribe button, and pull up. We go live every day at 6:15 EST and 3:15 PST.
Awesome. I knew when I was on yours that we had to have you on. We'll continue to have you on, especially when these games are really starting and they mean a lot. And you got an audience that we want to have here on our show, and same with our show going to your audience. So thanks for doing this, and we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks for having me, JT. I appreciate you.
You got it. Wasted talent. I like doing this, man. That's what I want part of my legacy to be, to put people on the radio who should be on the radio. Wasted talent. I was on his podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I told my wife, I said, man, I was on with someone who was really good. He was prepared. He had great questions. He's got a good audience. I said, let's get him on this show, right? And we added him to the show here. So we got to add people every once in a while, and we added him because, as you can tell, he's really good. Really good. And I wanted to hear what he had to say today. And all opinions count here. Coming up next, Jesse Merrick. So Jesse was formerly with News 3. Now he's out on his own. I love that story for him. I think that's going to be big. And we'll talk to him about what he sees at camp. Another grinder at camp who's there every day, who could see something that you need to hear about. We'll get to him coming up next. Thanks to M Resort, the official hotel of the Silver and Black. M Resort Spa and Casino. Head on out to the Raiders Tavern and Grill. Wow. All right. That's an hour and 30. I'm out. Wow. Jesse Merrick next on the app. How about that show today? One of our better shows, man. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'm not going anywhere. We got 7:05 in here. We got 705 in here, man. 705, man. I'd like to see how many people will stream in this channel compared to streaming some radio stations right now. All right, now we're going to stay here, Snow Raider, for Jesse Merrick.
Michael Merrick coming back.
But I am going to take a second break. Give me a break, please.
This is Raider Nation Radio, 920 AM, the home of Raider Nation.
Hey, it's JT here to tell you about the best pizza in Las Vegas, Grimaldi's. Only at Grimaldi's can you get their famous New York-style coal-fired brick oven pizza. Grimaldi's has 4 locations in the Vegas Valley, or check it out online at Grimaldi'sPizzeria.com.
Collectors, Front Row Card Show is back at the Rio Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas on August 16th and 17th. Biggest show ever! Baseball, football, fantasy, and hockey cards, plus Pokemon, Marvel, Star Wars, and comic books. Finnegan, CGC, and JSA will be there. So bring your cards, comics, and autographs to sell, trade, or get them graded. 550 vendors, including golden auctions, thousands of dollars in free prizes. Don't miss it. Front Row Card Show, Saturday and Sunday, August 16th and 17th, 11 to 5. For more info, go to frontrowcardshow.com. That's frontrowcardshow.com.
For over 20 years, the experts at LendingStore.com have provided consumers with quick access to lenders, and all credit types are welcome. Now, cash is as close as your phone and as soon as tomorrow. When you need cash, you need it now, so why wait? Got bills today? Get cash tomorrow. Visit LendingStore.com. Get the cash you need now. So visit LendingStore.com today for details. See website for details. Lending Store is not a lender and does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old and not available in all states.
Beat the heat and pack up the car. Bring the kids and make memories that last without spending a fortune. Cedar City in beautiful southern Utah is closer than you think and cooler than you expect. An easy 3-hour drive and you can enjoy that cool mountain air. Enjoy an amazing hike in one of the many nearby national parks or some great fishing in nearby lakes and reservoirs. There's something for everyone. The bank. Visit cedarcity.com to plan your summer escape.
Flood season, schmunchmies. It's just a little rain, and you're in a car. Drive through the puddle. It's like a free car wash. You've got places to go. Come on, got it.
Yeah, that's not the way to do it. You simply can't tell how deep flood water is in the road, and it only takes 1 foot of rushing water to pick up your car. Drowning in your car is a tragedy.
This is an excellent day for promos. Okay? The JT the Brick Show. Don Van Natta joins us. The Gruden thing is this. What? He's calling us. Hold on. Jesse Merrick. Hold on. Hold on a second. Jesse Merrick. So today is a great promo day. Don Van Natta, Todd Marinovich. I don't want the promos of me going forward, not that they're not good, is that of me screaming and saying, we need a fucking right tackle. I want to get away from that with me. I know, but I've heard enough of them over the years. I'm not saying the general conversation. Merrick, MER. Yeah. 805 320 4719.
Got it. This is going to be Michael Mayer coming back. Give me a minute to get him.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo Especial is a rich, full-flavored Pilsner-style lager, delivering a crisp, refreshing taste. Brewed with fighting spirits since 1925.
Boyd Gaming is the official
Second 15, Michael Mayer.
All right. Hey. What do you say, Jesse Merrick?
The Brick Show, brought to you by PT's, the best happy hour in town, 5 to 7 p.m. and midnight to 2 a.m.
Oh, we love it. Me and Brock love it too. We absolutely love it. I think it's about understanding exactly what we're trying to do with the play and do what he's asking you to do. You know, in Chip's offense, all 11 have to be on the same page at all time. And I think that's something we're working on still, but all 11 have to be on the same page. You got to know your assignment. You got to know where you're supposed to be. And they want us playing fast, man, and we've been playing fast. And we're going to keep playing fast. We're going to keep learning. We're going to keep, installing some stuff and learn some new things. And then from there, keep repping it and keep getting better at it.
Michael Mayer, who's a great interview. When am I going to interview Big Mike? I thought I had dibs on Big Mike. Summerlin South 5, Illinois nothing. Oh, look at this. What a great way to bring in Jesse Merrick, who's got a new platform here. And before we get to Raiders, Jesse, you've been covering sports out here for a while. Big story with Summerlin South at the Little League World Series. He's not there. He dropped. All right, we'll get him up here in a second. Jesse Merrick is going to join us momentarily. Again, Summerlin South on top of Illinois, 5-0, top of the fifth. Summerlin South is in the field now, and they got a 3-0 count against them and a walk. When you're up 5-0, you do not want to walk the leadoff batter. I don't care if you're playing Little League or professional. You don't walk a batter on 4 pitches, but these are kids that are in, young kids, so I shouldn't be raising my voice. So that's what we'll do here. So we're getting this thing going. So Illinois down 5-0 to Nevada as we wait on Jesse Merrick here. What a show today. Thanks to Wasting Talent, who just joined us as we're keeping an eye on all of this, all the sports that happen. And tomorrow I'll be at practice all day. Friday we're broadcasting. Obviously, we'll do the broadcast from the Raiders. So Jesse Merrick joins us. He's got a brand new platform. Jesse, I was saying, Nevada up 5-0 on Illinois. The kids from Summerlin South looking good.
Yeah, hey, you got to love that, man. It's always cool every year as it rolls around when one of these local teams make it to the Little League World Series. Like, the towns obviously rally around it, and it's just fun because, like, Vegas is a really solid baseball town. I think a lot of people don't realize that. And so, like, seeing these kids come up through the ranks and get that opportunity has been really fun over the years, and I always enjoy checking it out.
Tell me about your new platform and the journey you're on here. You did great work at News 3 LV, and now you're going out on your own here, which I'm really excited for you, Aaron, because I see you at all the practices. You're grinding. You're always putting out content. How'd that come about?
Yeah, for me, and I appreciate the kind words there, man. I've definitely been grinding. But for me, I'm a football nutcase. Anybody that knows me knows that. And, as much as I've loved covering all sports, all I really ever wanted to do was just cover football. And, I've had the idea to do something kind of like this for quite a long time, just didn't quite know how to go about doing it. And it's also a big leap. It's a scary move to make. And finally, I got the guts to do it. I'd saved up some money to give myself a nice little runway to create something cool and decided to take that leap. So I quit my job and I'm going all in on the Raiders. It's Silver and Black Sports Network. And, we're based in a newsletter and a podcast as well. If you guys go to silverandblacksportsnetwork.com, you can check it out. But it's been so much fun, man. Obviously a ton of work. Like you said, you see all the content I'm putting out, but it doesn't quite feel like work because at the end of the day, I'm doing exactly what I've always wanted to do.
So this is really interesting. So I'm really excited for you because going out on your own is how great things happen in life. It's the entrepreneurial spirit to do it that way. But what do you believe that you're bringing differently? And not saying better than everybody else, because there's a lot of good guys out there that do what we all do. But what is your hook on why Raider fans should find your platforms and what you're doing?
No, 100%. Everybody that covers the Raiders does such a great job. I think I bring a different perspective. I'm more of like an analytical stats guy. I love diving into that. I played college football as well. So I've been in a lot of meetings, watched a lot of football over my time. So I feel like I can break the game down differently than a lot of people can, and just have a different eye for what it's like to be in these guys' shoes. Obviously, I did not play in the NFL. I'm not trying to say that. I was a D2 receiver.
Oh, did we lose him again?
He's still there.
He's still there. Come on, Jesse. The phone ghost. We don't need the phone ghost. We had a hell of a show today. So we're going to try Jesse back one more time here and try to get him on the phone correctly here. We haven't had the phone ghost in a while. Remember we went through that stage? Oh, boy. We had the phone ghost where the wiring was on our end, and then the cell phone towers that are there. So we'll get him up here momentarily, and we'll get you through some of the breaking news today. Injuries in the NFL. Wow. Let's cross our fingers with the Raiders. Okay, Lonnie Johnson, we saw an injury. Let's cross our fingers that we don't have any injuries because some players are going down throughout the NFL, and we don't want to see that here. We want the Raiders to be healthy going into that New England game. That New England game, Vrabel's going to have the Patriots riled up with Josh McDaniels ready to go, and we're going to have to go out there and be 100% healthy to match up with that. So Jesse Merrick's going to join us back here in a second. Nevada 5, Illinois 0. Top of the fifth inning. So it's been all mountain, all Nevada in this game here as they try to extend their lead right here on Raider Nation Radio. All of the PTs, everybody that's here should be watching this if you get a chance to watch a stream and to be able to see this and check out what's going on here. 702-365-9200. And we don't have Jesse, so we have a bad phone line. Maybe we'll get him in studio next time, and we'll go about it that way. And that's about it on this end. So when we come back, we'll wrap up the show. I want to get the phone lines going. So let's get everybody else on the phones today because we had a lot of interviews. If this is Jesse, we'll put him up one more time and get it going here as Jesse Merrick joins us. So no issues there, Jesse. You were talking about the different coverage, the analytics, being a former player, and what you see when you look at tape.
Yeah, definitely. And, I think I just bring a fresh perspective to the table in that regard, and I always try to have a lot of fun with it. And, I try not to pull punches or anything like that. I'm not going to rip people or anything, but, I try and come at it all with respect and just kind of call it like I see it,
Mm-hmm. What do you think of some of the big storylines? A lot of people are just dredging up in a good way. I think it's good content. Jackson Powers-Johnson moving to right guard. Did you see that? Did you see anything with your content that said, Pete's looking at the size and the body size of everybody here, and he might be better at guard instead of center here? I didn't see that coming, and when it did, it really got Raider Nation going.
Yeah, no, it definitely did. I don't think any of us saw it coming, especially in the offseason. Like, coming in, we probably all had Jackson Powers-Johnson sharpied in as the starter at center. Even Jackson, he mentioned that he introduced himself to Ashton Genty as the starting center. But I think when the staff went back and looked at the tape and really took a look at everything, they see Jordan Meredith. And look, when you talk to Jordan Meredith, you see how heady of a guy he is. Like, it's very clear to see how intelligent this guy is. And I'm not taking a shot at Jackson by saying how intelligent Jordan is and saying that Jackson's not intelligent. That's not where we're going with this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just clear that Jordan is on a different level. So analytically, maybe they thought, okay, let's see what this guy can do, how it translates there. And he's not completely unfamiliar with playing center. He's done it at times throughout his career, the preseason, things like that. And I think we heard from Adam Butler. He talked about Jackson Powers-Johnson, and he even said that he thinks Jackson could be an all-pro right guard. Now, if somebody that's been in the league as long as Adam has says something like that, chances are the coaching staff saw something like that as well. And Jackson is such an aggressive player. Obviously, we've seen some issues with some penalties and stuff his first season, but if he cleans that up, like the physicality and the effort that guy plays with, if you can rein that in and do it at guard, that's going to be a game changer. So I think, too, really what they're trying to do wholesale along the offensive line is just get the 5 best guys out there. They probably don't feel amazing about any of the guys behind those starting 5. So they're like, why would we leave Jackson at center when maybe, Kappa or whoever ends up starting at right guard when we feel like Jordan can get by there and be a really good center for us. And then Jackson will be the guy at right guard. And then right there, we've got our starting 5 that we feel comfortable rolling out there with. So to me, I think it's just all about getting the best group possible out there. And Jackson luckily has the versatility to play that position.
So, Jesse, I've been pointing out all this week that I think it's going to be, if there's one takeaway that you want to see in this game, and I'll go first, I just want to see forward penetration by the offensive line. I want to see them move the pile so Ashton Genty has a hole or two to try to hit a Raheem Mostert or Zeus. I want to see something happen with aggression where the offensive line is going forward. Is that fair to say? And what do you think that you want to see more than anything coming into Saturday?
100%. And mine is kind of twofold, just that battle in the trenches. Like, the Raiders need to win that battle in the trenches. And defensively, like, you have to be able to set edge and you got to be able to tackle well. Like, obviously that wasn't the case in the preseason opener when the starting group was out there, or really for most of the first half. Like, that's something that has to change. At the end of the day, as cliche as it is to talk about the game being won in the trenches, it is. And we saw the issues that this team had running the ball last year. So for me, my number one is establish the run, move bodies, create room for Ashton Genty to do what he does, because he can only do so much. You know what I mean? Like, there's only so much that a running back can do back there. No matter how good they are, you got to give them some space to run. But defensively, same deal. You have to be able to stop the run and get some penetration. And again, more than anything, set that edge so that teams aren't running wild on you. You know, if you can't set the edge, it's going to be a really long day at the office. So that's something I need to see, you know, from this defense as well.
Jesse, one more time at Silver and Black Sports Network. Where do we go to follow? I'm seeing silverandblacksportsnetwork.com and all your other platforms. Tell us about it again.
Yeah, definitely. So the website, silverandblacksportsnetwork.com. You can find me on Twitter at JesseSBSN. Everything else, all the other socials are all Silver and Black Sports Network, whether that's Instagram, or on YouTube as well. We throw our podcast up there. I actually just got done taping it, so I'll be putting that up in the next hour or so. My takeaways from practice, we're talking a lot about Jack Besh. He obviously had a really big day at practice today, so make sure you guys tune in for that on YouTube. Again, that's Silver and Black Sports Network on YouTube.
I'll see you out there tomorrow, Jesse. Thanks for coming on. You got it, Jesse Merrick. Follow him. I like a guy who quits his job and goes out on his own. I like that a lot. Okay? When people are able to do that, I've been telling you for years, wrote it in my book, The Handoff. Do not be defined by your job. Don't ever be defined by your job. Be defined by the person you are. If you're a husband, you're a father, whoever you are, don't be defined by News 3 LV or ESPN Radio or Fox Sports Radio. Don't be defined by that. Be defined on who you are. And, Jesse has a free newsletter also, a Raider Nation, a guy here, PWNS, signed up for it. And that's why we're doing this. Right, Bobby, we're good to people, man. We want everyone to do well. Almost everyone. Right. Well, Bobby, you shouldn't shake your hand like that. I mean, we want everybody to kind of do well. I mean, we've done well for a long time here, man. We want other people to do well too.
We want lots of people to do well, but not everybody.
Oh, yeah.
There's a few.
Yeah, well, we'll keep that between us. Oh, we'll tell that to the chat who we don't want to do well. I'm only joking. I want to say goodbye to the bricklayers. Do you want to become a bricklayer? You got to be on YouTube, and it's free. How many other pieces of content are free? Everybody's bundling everybody, charging you $13.99 or $19.99. This is free on YouTube, JT the Brick YT. So the rest of the week, very quickly. Tomorrow is Thursday. So we'll be at practice tomorrow, going with my family, excited. Both my sons and my wife going to practice tomorrow. I got pictures of my kids at Raiders training camp when they were born.
Yeah.
My youngest son, my youngest son's 22. I got pictures of him in the carry-on stroller at Raiders training camp. And other sons of my other son, John, I have pictures of him with Jack Del Rio, Khalil Mack, Derek Carr. Who else? Just Willie Brown. All the guys. Just John Ritchie, Lincoln Kennedy. I mean, look, my kids were up to Lincoln Kennedy's knees when they were kids, and now they're up to Lincoln Kennedy's chin. Let's go, Summerlin South, up 5-0. We'll give you a recap on the game on the other side here. And then it's Raiders Alumni Weekend, so I'll be an MC for one of their big events on Friday. 200 plus Raider alumni coming in. That's a clue to the Raider Nation. I'm not telling you where they're going to be. Not going to tell you what hotel rooms they're in and the room number. But there's a lot of Raiders coming in this week. The greatness of the Raiders is in its future, but the past of the alumni are unbelievable. So we're excited about that. I did say La Casa Cigars at Tivoli, but we got cut off at that point. They get the walk-in humidor, 7 nights a week entertainment. They are doing their grand reopening before they have the blowout reopening. Head on out to Tivoli Village. And congratulate Mike for what he's doing over there to make your experience phenomenal with cigars and entertainment. Woo! Man, that felt like a 5-hour show. Was that the phone screwed up on our end?
I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like it was. No, he said it didn't, by the way. He said it didn't, though. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Thanks, everyone. No Mad Dog tonight. I'll have a Modelo in the pool. And that's it. Man, we had a good day today. We have 785 people in right now. Twitter and YouTube. So thanks to everybody here. Appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, I think I'll be here. Tomorrow's Thursday. No, I'm at the facility for practice, but then I'm coming back here. So we'll stream again tomorrow.